Hello. Yeah. Hi. Welcome. That was good timing, really. I'm about to start now. I've been half an hour faffing, and here we are. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So it's going to be a mixed media painting of Topaz. Is this okay? We asked you, Ronan. Can you still see? You still? What about you, Evie? Can you still see now?
Oh, I can see.
Yeah. Okay. So here we are. All right. So I'm going to work with the head and shoulders because there's this lovely shift in the tilt of the shoulder. This shoulder is lower than this one, and the light is coming from this angle. So I really want to half close my eyes and just begin to establish where the dark side of the face is, without even seeing this as a lovely face, but just finding the general area of dark. And this is watered down Indian ink. It's really quite watered down, so it's not making it much of an impact at all. Which is no harm. I don't want it to be too dominant early on. So it's making the dark of the hair with it as well. And now I've got some neat Indian ink here. I'm going to dip the wet paper towel into that and see what happens. I think that's going to help me to explain. You know what? All of the ink here is watered down.
Cheapskate.
Oh, here we are.
I hope you do
It's like beers. It looks a bit like Guinness actually, doesn't it? Okay, now I'm going to say, I'm going to go with this one and see if this one might work. How's that colour? That's still kind of, yeah, I'm going to pour that all away and put the new one out. So this is definitely not going to be just as black as soot. As black as soot. I was listening to John O'Donoghue. I love John O'Donoghue's writing. He's a poet and philosopher from Ireland. He passed away recently. Is this the one I just said?
Yeah.
Thanks. That would have been really an honour, wouldn't it? He was talking about the blackest peat, you know, when you dig down in the buttery peat right under the turf that you dig out, the darkest turf makes the brightest flame. I thought that was nice, just talking about dark things. Alright, so this is now, you see, there we are, that's dark. Success. And it really is quite dark. So if I fold the paper over again, I can use the dark of that as a reservoir rather than to put more dark on, you know. So I want to explain the way the hair is darker obviously than the skin on this side, particularly because the light is really hitting the temple there. And then there's the dark below the ear. That kind of helps to emphasize the light on the neck and the lovely upward trajectory of the neck there. I'm just going to fill in. So I'm always looking like this, forgetting the lovely details that are in between things and just seeing the darks and lights. And really that helps me then to not be too particular and to capture the general sweeping statement of things as opposed to the particular convoluted little bits in between. So we want to try and get a general feel for where the darks and the lights are. Okay. It's quite nice to get stuck in, you know, to start pushing and pulling and making the medium do things that are maybe unexpected. So you know we can lift out, can't we? So we lift out the light now that's on the nose there with the white, the cleaner bit. But I need water in there to lift it out because it's drying quite quickly. So water on the paper towel, and I put on so much water that it's running, but that kind of gives me the element of chance. It makes me feel surprised, and that's okay. And then there's the light here in the temple. I think I will inject some of that skin colour too, possibly. And with the higher shoulder here, you see, I think this maybe needs to drop. Because there's something in the dynamic tilt that makes it really appealing. It might be that we could go that way a bit more there too. Yeah. And I think that, I feel like the lines that overshoot and even move in arcs beyond the figure add something to the feeling of movement and energy in the thing. Because I wanted her to tilt that way, and I didn't make her head tilt that way. Those arcs, I think, are somehow kind of encouraging her head a bit over, maybe. Um, hoping for the best here. And then we've the shadow cast by the head on that shoulder. And then there's the, we've got the neckline there. Actually, that second line isn't necessary, so I'm going to wipe it away. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of not wanting to put in collage this time. Another time, you might find that you might start with collage. You might, because I started with the Indian ink, it maybe feels a bit like it would be too big a jump just now. I don't know if I want to put anything like that in. However, you could imagine starting with the collage and possibly using that brown paper. I'll just bring some over. You could possibly use the brown paper then as actually cutting it so nicely, I'm going to tear a piece off. If you were to use collage, on there you might have put brown paper there and some collage here, and then the ink, the line of the ink dipped, with the stick dipped into the ink, could be the thing that establishes, so don't be afraid to use collage, but just know I'm inclined more to use the ink in just the one colour of paint. So, let's see what this looks like now if I was to bring this in. Oh, hi Veronica.
Hi there.
Nice to see you. This is the first demonstration. Actually, Ronan, how long have I got?
You've got 4 minutes.
4 minutes again. It's not gas. Same thing yesterday. And I asked you yesterday, it was 4 minutes too.
I just make it up.
Well, it's sounding a bit suspicious, like.
You time to what you want it to be.
So, Veronica, I'm occupying your space when you'll be here after.
I wanted to ask you, I love your splatters, but is there, do you think about the direction you splat when you look at the
Yeah, that's
picture?
a good question. I think I'm going to lift off that because I want to reserve that for the face alone, I think. And I think it would be okay for there to be a little bit of it, but yeah. And the splash. It's a good question. I think that it definitely matters, the direction of the splash. There's something about, I think in the same way as I wanted to do the arc that way and this way to get the head to tilt over, this to me feels like it's pushing the shoulder back somehow. Or establishing again the general seated kind of gesture. The direction of there's something about you want it to enhance the pose rather than go against it. And it just felt like a good direction to go in support of that shoulder. And also it's nice to have splashes breaking into the space around the model, I find. Okay, now, alright, so to do something in the features that's a little bit clearer, I want to find, so I'll just use the dark, what's that now? That's kind of a medium colour. I want to show you, for doing the lips now, like that might be quite good. Shadow in the upper lip. We'll see. I think I'm just going to let it occupy as well. Oh yeah, half closing my eyes. Just going to find, rather than think I'm painting a mouth, I'm going to just continue locating the position of the shadows in this area, knowing that I can easily wipe away as well. Otherwise, if you feel like you're needing to do justice to the lovely face, it kind of feels a bit like, oh God, that's pressure. Whereas if you're just looking with your eyes half closed to find the darks and lights that meet one another. I have my water here so it's closer. That somehow feels less of a pressure. So the dark and light is all I'm looking for here. And the direction. So from the top of the mouth, it looks to me like the direction's going down the way like that. And then the light, the line where the light meets the dark of the upper lip is going in that direction. And then there's the light that's on the nose, which kind of comes down maybe to about there, I think. And then I'm kind of encouraged to look at the brightness beyond the face again and to see if this maybe needs to be drawn in a little bit more, knowing that there's always the oil pastel option too. And then this is a bit hairy at the edge, so I want to clarify the jawline a little bit. Okay. And if we do only have 4 minutes left, really, well, probably 1 minute now, I want to try this skin colour, and I'll try it with, when I say skin colour, it's the skin colour today, depends on who's sitting there really. But this looks quite like colour that I would be aiming for the shadow side. Maybe. It's very watery now, but I think it's okay. Alright. And here's just an idea of what might happen with the oil pastel. There's our little tinkle. So if you bring the oil pastel in, it really refines things for you. So if you did want to leave some of the hair sticking out further than it actually is or something, it's really quite a nice way to draw back in the new edge. Just do another minute if that's okay, Topaz. Okay. And I've got something to describe. Maybe I could be standing back a lot more often here. Maybe something to describe the line. This is just chalk now, so it's barely visible. But I think when you've got the roughly established under layer, you can then take your time, have a pause, and just see, you know, what would I like to pull out? It could be that you might introduce collage in the body, or oil pastel line in the face. Or even just charcoal would work maybe as a way of defining a bit more fully things like the eyebrow. That's not really, charcoal isn't working so well on this is the acrylic paper from yesterday. I think it's good paper to use for this, but charcoal won't work so well on it. So the stick dipped into the ink might be the thing that would be the next port of call for adding any sort of detail. Just finding, yeah. Okay. This is a kind of one, I suppose you could take quite a while over. We'll maybe leave like about 40 minutes or something for the painting that you'll be doing before lunch. You'll do some, you know, when you're doing this kind of thing. So that you can really take your time over things like the amount of ink that you use and how you manipulate it around when you're drawing the features. The hard line might be too hard. You might want to soften it again with the paper towel, you know. So Topaz, thanks ever so much. That was really great. Thanks very much. We've got this sepia coloured chalky thing as well. Yeah, chalk's not working, so the oil pastel will be the one that you'll need to use if you're wanting to bring in any sort of yeah, I'm still going here, sorry. Oh yeah, there's a bit of oil pastel. So you know, that kind of, it's not oil pastel, honest to God. There's some, if you can find like a skin coloured here, you know, you might end up using, that's chalk as well. I'll select all the fresh coloured oil pastels so that we know it's good for me to make all the mistakes, isn't it? So that then, so that then you won't be having to.
How not to do it.
It was all part of my grand plan here to really mess up, and then you know how not to do it. So that's it. Thanks, Topaz, and thank you at home for watching. There she is, kind of. And all the best. So so I'll see you. Bye.